Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get things back up and running. It's been a crazy day, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know who that person was that just showed up. But what's up, Mr. Sledge? I see you. Let's get to it. It's been a crazy, crazy day, man. Notifications, all kind of viruses on the computer and all this nonsense, all to stop me from talking about what's going on. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things, um, not just Lakers and Nets, right? We're going to talk about the future of the league, where they're going. Absolutely. What we're doing now is just getting everything together. But yes, we're ready. Well, it's time. Now, here's the thing. How do you join the Patreon? Go to Patreon, go to Casino for Life, and select the tier you want to sign up for. Get the likes up, all of it. Well, here's a major problem. Okay, because we got to go into this. The NBA is an entertainment league. Okay, it's not a sport. And unfortunately, we as the fans, we are not entertained. And that is the big responsibility and the big part of this is that we as the fans are supposed to be entertained. That is what's supposed to happen. You are supposed to be entertained. That means the content that they're creating is supposed to fulfill you. Peace and blessings, Andre. Now, let's get to the whole gist of these problems. Here is what the NBA is doing after having 900 million loan. Imagine a $900 million loan. That's a lot of money. Now you have a $900 million loan. You could pay that back. But look at teams like Chicago, the Knicks. They lost a lot of money. So that $30 million is going to help them out. But let's look at how many teams are really losing here. The Detroit Pistons, the Bulls, the Knicks are losing their revenue, but they can recover. They're used to making it. Detroit is barely making it. Sacramento Kings, barely making it. The Memphis Grizzlies are barely making it. Minnesota Timberwolves, barely making it. You see where I'm going? Atlanta Hawks, barely making it. Charlotte Hornets, barely making it. Shall I continue? Washington Wizards, barely making it. New Orleans, Pelicans, barely making it. That's 8. 8 teams already. Eight teams already. And what's going to be on that team list pretty soon? It's not there yet, but it's on its way. That's the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're on their way there. Now, 8 teams out of 30 are not really doing that well. But the league as a whole is taking a hit. The numbers that they have are inflated based on the Clippers being bought out for over the price. So with that being the case, you have a situation in which others who don't understand the process, they don't understand what's going on here, they don't really get the gist of the problems. The NBA selected years ago, and I told you that they want tournaments. They want to set up these little tournaments. This was before the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, everything took its own life. It took its own form and started to go. Sports media does not exist anymore. There's no more journalism in sports. Okay? All of that's over with. The journalistic part of sports is gone. Everything now consists of entertainment media. Okay? Objectified opinions that nobody has to have any evidence on, any proof, anything. You don't have to be fact checks. You don't have to be correct. You could just tell people how you feel. You could basically make things up as you go. Except for like when people like us, if we give our opinion based, we're not journalists. We get bashed for just being haters, but then other people on television says the exact same thing as us. They're geniuses. They get all the credit. ESPN has transformed from a news reporting journalistic place where they would actually have real journalists, sports journalists giving you updates on the games, the scores, to now it is just all opinion based garbage, left and right, of people just fantasizing and selling a story that the NBA wants to tell you. Now, because we have arrived at this point in this juncture, we're going to go down this whole dark road and explain to you what's been going on. Before the pandemic, Adam Silverslipper had this NBA Paris that was going to happen, where they were going to set up leagues and they were going to start encouraging, they were going to have international play. They were going to have some of the teams start these little tournament leagues and then have them playing like tournaments, like have teams actually travel out and play in these tournaments. All of this is real. I'm sad to tell you. Mm-hmm. Oh, and now the rabbit hole gets a little deeper. Well, Mark Cuban heard about this tournament, right? Because the league has come up with the idea since the pandemic. Now, having a play in tournament that happened down the course of what happened last year made sense. But what actually transpired during the whole pandemic, it made sense to have a little tournament or whatever. That's cool, but to count that as an NBA championship, that's that's just far fetched of trying to finish out what they've already written. Now moving forward, they're finna taint the game even further by coming out with this in play tournament. So now we're gonna go into what they're doing, and I saw it again today. Mark Cuban voted against the tournament, the in play tournament. When the season started, he didn't think it was fair to the teams that earned it the rights to be in the playoffs. He said, so what you're telling teams that they fought all season long to get to 7 and 8 in the tournament, in the seeding of 8. Now they've only won the fact that they got to play in a 4-man tournament just to get back to what they've already earned. It doesn't make any sense. So Mark Cuban is definitely against this because the Dallas Mavericks aren't a team that's like really in a position of losing money. So this doesn't really help his team. His team is not going to be in the eighth seed. So this doesn't really benefit him. So let me tell you what the league had in play. Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. They need this in-play tournament to be successful. But it's not going to be successful if you got a bunch of players that's got some talent, but nobody really knows them. Nobody really know them. So what do you do? What do you set up? Quite simple, right? You will go ahead and set up something that doesn't even exist. What they expected was Dallas to struggle. And early on, Dallas was struggling. Then they started winning. Then they started beating teams that they had no business beating. Dallas had went from 10th and 11th all the way up the ladder. Now, Mark Cuban always flips. He always says, "Oh, I'm going to go against it." Then when the whole majority said, "Mark, it's time to fall in line," that's what he does. He switches and go back. So Mark Cuban approved it after voting against it. And he's have a history of flip-flopping on a lot of issues. Now, what's his reward? They're going to be on a play-in tournament. I'm telling you, they're going to be in a play-in tournament. Mark Sway, it's not a good idea. The NBA is banking on this is going to draw a lot of attention and more revenue to the league. That's what it's for. Okay. They're exhausting it on both levels. Okay. So hit the like button. That's free. Yeah, they having embarrassing losses because they're being embarrassingly cheated out of games. Now, what's happening is they're being put in a situation where the league is basically keeping them in a playoff tournament situation. They want Zion. Look for the Spurs to fall out and be out the playoffs, everything. They're going to have Zion, Steph Curry, and Luka in a play-in tournament. Watch. Watch what I'm telling you. Cino knows these things. Exactly. They're keeping the Lakers 500. And they're keeping the Lakers 500 because they don't want the Lakers to move from that position. They want the Lakers to remain at that 500 position. He said, don't forget Ja Morant. Oh, yeah, Ja's going to be in there. So you got Zion, Ja, Steph, and Luka. And that's all in the West. And that's all they're going to focus on because they can give a damn about the East. They just need the Miami Heat to be in the tournament. Now you got the Miami Heat and Pat Riley involved. You got Jimmy Butler. Now you got the Indiana Pacers, who they don't care about. You got the Toronto Raptors, who they don't care about. Charlotte Hornets. They're in there. And that team is good. But Charlotte is coming into, they want to get Charlotte to be that team, that playing bed. They love North Carolina. See, Carolina got to be that turning point. It's Jordan. So he's got to have some success here. And actually, they got players. I told people, even without LaMelo Ball, they've got players. They can win games. And as you can see, LaMelo's coming off the bench. He wasn't the like, man, without LaMelo Ball, they're finna lose. No, Charlotte can play. They're not what you think. Now, what they do want to happen is they want not the Toronto Raptors to be there. They don't want that. What they want is the Washington Wizards to have the 10th seed. They want the Washington Wizards to go and take that 10th seed. Because if the Wizards get the 10th seed, you know what happens? Now you got Russell Westbrook in there. You got Russ in the picture. You got John Wall. You got names. They don't care about the Raptors. Van Fleet, Kyle Lowry, get them out of there. They don't care about them. But Washington, that could be it. See, the league has this growing problem that they're trying to fix under everyone's noses. Because what they're telling you is that playing in a shortened season, even though it's 70-some games, this play-in tournament is so unfair for everybody who's 7th and 8th. You mean to tell me all I got to do is 9th or 10th, and I've earned the right to be vying for a championship? Now they're saying this is going to dissuade people tanking. How? How? This is going to maximize revenue. How? Hmm? How? See, the play-in basketball thing do enough to justify putting extra strain on people's bodies in a postseason type of play. Okay? Now, if you're going to go tournament style, you got to do that for your entire playoffs. Because the way you got it is you got it in series mode. So if you want to go tournament style, one game determines everything, then you're going to have to go and do that all the way because the tournament doesn't mean anything. See, the reason why the NCAA is successful, and this is LeBron, his harebrained idea with Adam Silver Slipper and all those idiots that work in that office. These so-called brilliant idiots got together and decided this is what we need to do. We need to create a league in which we have a play-in tournament, just like the NCAA. They look at the NCAA and say this is the way to go. But why is the NCAA so successful? Does anyone know? I'll give you the answer. The NCAA is successful because of one reason. There is a champion at the end of it. What do you get for winning this tournament? Just to get in the playoffs? It's stupid. No, it's not just because it's single elimination. That's why a tournament works. Because yes, single elimination, just like the NFL, you lose, you go home. It's not in series mode. But that's not why the interest is there. People were interested when Jordan was playing and it was in a series. That's not it. It's a championship. You're playing for something. You're not playing for anything. What are you going to do? Make the fake play-in trophy? What's going to happen here? You're going to have this tournament. Have Luka win the tournament, right? Then Luka goes into the playoffs. Is that what we want? Is this what we want? So now, this is what we got. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to subscribe to the page if you haven't been subscribed to this page before. So the second seed and the first seed really have no benefit of knowing who they're going to play in the first round. And you thought the Lakers was going to fall into this playoff play-in tournament? You think LeBron James is going to play in this? No, it was his idea, but it wasn't the idea that he plays in it ever. Told y'all got to understand the NBA is not a sport. It's not a sport, ladies and gentlemen. We have to understand that. In order to understand this league, you have to understand a few things. And one thing is certain is that this is not a sport, ladies and gentlemen. The NBA is not a sport. Get it out your brain. It is sports entertainment. That means it's just like wrestling. I'm telling you. There is so much people just don't know. Why do we like magic? Hmm? Why do people like magic? When you're a kid, you're fascinated by what? Magic. And the reason why you're fascinated with magic is because it gives you fulfillment. You're being entertained. But it's not entertaining if you know the trick. It loses its effect. The imagination is gone. The fantasy is gone. So the game is transformed more from the actual sport of basketball. That has been altered and forgotten about. We're going to change that to fit an entertainment point of view. So we add all these new rules and new features to try to help control the game. Now you can't control it the way you used to. Now it looks ridiculous. It's not entertaining anymore. You're ruining the pace of the game, the flow of the game, and games that are really good are being interrupted because you have an agenda that you want to try to fulfill. Meanwhile, this is hurting your league. People would rather watch a reality show than watch the NBA basketball game. That's sad. And people tell me, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I like basketball. I grew up on the sport. But the problem is the person that's saying that, they're not even doing it either. They're not even watching the games. They're watching highlights. This season, I've never been given this many free NBA League Pass everything. Can't blame it on COVID. The league was struggling before COVID. The play-in tournament was discussed before COVID even hit. They're still trying to do international teams. Silver Slipper is expanding too fast. He got Kevin Durant going over to India. He's got all these different things transpiring, but yet the league is suffering a lot because of it. You expand too fast, you thin out the actual core and leave it unprotected to be damaged. And it's been damaged to no good, to no end. Because see, what they didn't expect is LeBron James to miss about 20 games out of the 70 games that they played. They got to get Queen James out of the way. I agree. The problem is at its core. You got bad leadership. They're going to use COVID as an excuse. The NCAA tournament did about 17, almost 19 million people watched the final game. It was 17.9 watched it. Mm-hmm. That's right, Ozzy. It's terrible. This is a 3-point shooting league now. Everything is shoot the three. There's no more setting up the post guy anymore, and guys running sets and plays. It's all run and gun. Bad leadership. You have to get back to actually letting it be a sport. It has to be under the imagination of the people again. You can't be thinking bottom line. Let's just stick the Lakers in there. They're a high market team, and everybody loves the Lakers. Let's get the Lakers in there, and then we can let the Lakers win for a couple of years, and then everybody will love that. Then we'll get the Celtics back in there, and then we'll get the Warriors back in there, and then then we're gonna get some more teams back in there. We're gonna get Boston back in there. We have the Knicks back up there playing them, and we have Kevin Durant and going against the Knicks. Quit trying to set up our entertainment. Let the game dictate who's great and who's not. This is why the people they're tired. You wore them out with Golden State and Cleveland Cavaliers for 5 years straight. We've had to endure watching LeBron James get shoveled into the NBA Finals every year. Shovel LeBron. Shovel LeBron. Guess who was in the final again? Your friend, LeBron. And he's buying it, hook, line, and sinker. It's ridiculous. And that's since he's been commissioner. People have grown tired. They're not going to just complain about it. They're just going to turn. Because one, not a lot of people don't like LeBron. And it's not just me. I know a lot of people like to think it's just me, but it isn't. A lot of people don't like LeBron. When in doubt, blame James. Absolutely. Listen, we're going to talk about Kevin Durant right now. KD, let's talk about Kevin Durant. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. It's free. You want to support the page? The Cash App is Carcino, but this is free. So we can get into this. Oh, the Patreon, we're going into a lot of details of what you didn't know about the Coming to America. Some details that was leaked to me. Um, some of it is already out there. So we'll go into it more. Well, it isn't about that at all. Kevin Durant is injured again, but he went like knee to. It's above the knee, more the thigh area. But he kind of went knee to knee with a player in the first quarter. Was the reason why Brooklyn got ran out of the gym today. And this is why when you have such an injury like he did, where the area of coming back is so hard. Everything else start failing. You see with Klay Thompson, he didn't even make it back on the court before he tore his ACL now. Then you tear your Achilles on just a regular pull-up. This is a guy who just do pull-up jump shot. Once your legs start giving out like that and it has to overcompensate, things become weakened. And then when you start pushing and doing your body differently, you got to change a lot of your habits. You know, we predicted that this would happen to Kevin Durant. But we've never seen someone of his size and his skill, come back and still be so explosive. The Atlanta Hawks from winning an NBA championship, about 25 years away. I said about 25 years they'll have a team that can win the championship. It's not about basketball, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, it's just not about basketball. If it was about basketball, the Utah Jazz would have beat the Los Angeles Lakers. I sat here and told you the Los Angeles Lakers were going to win either one of the two games, probably the first game because it was on national television. No way they should have won that game. Would you believe there's people out there that don't even know LeBron James isn't even playing right now? I don't know where you guys get that LeBron is healthy stuff from. Where did you get that? Who told you LeBron was healthy? Just because somebody's walking around, that means that they're ready to play? They're not ready to play. I'm not stunning. It's just it's more light. Still so much more to be done. But Kevin Durant, when you start having these injuries, that kind that he has, when you come back, it starts to limit you. It's like Kobe. Kobe came back and you saw he couldn't get his legs back together. Basketball is about your legs. Once you're off your legs from injuries and things of that nature, LeBron was able to escape with very few injuries because he really didn't do much. He's like Ben Simmons on the 76ers. You don't really have to do much. Like they didn't need Ben Simmons to take over the game. But when the game's on the line, it reminds me of that song. They even got a song on Conway album. Somebody was rapping like, "You ain't got no J, you got no J." Like Ben Simmons, like you when you known for not having a jump, like you got no shot. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad when you got no shot. Man, that whole album is illegal. I'm like, it's illegal for them to be. They got the rap game on lock. Forget that. Griselda all day. Oh no, the next game Utah gonna blow them out by 50. I think they play Utah tomorrow. They play like back to back. When I watched the Utah Jazz beat the Lakers by like 50. Why should I tell you? I told you this thing is like a bad sitcom, man. Bad sitcom. I told y'all before, I'm like, Lakers gonna win this game, man. Like I told you, I've been picking the Lakers correct all throughout. They're gonna keep them 500 so that they don't lose no spot until AD and LeBron can get back in there. They can't let them fall into the tournament play. Yeah, I know it's ridiculous, but this is what they're doing to their league. But it's up to you guys. You're the ones that watch it. This is why they sabotage me. This is why it took so long for a video to appear. You ain't seen me that much in the past 2 days. It took me 8 hours just to get the one video up. Oh, D Wade has always been that route. Gabriel Union, you see him at the fashion shows. Who you think is in those fashion shows? Male fashion designers. That's like male hairdressers. Who you think they are? I've never met a straight male hairdresser in my life. He said that he healthy though. Then why he ain't playing? He should play tomorrow then, if he healthy. So he must not be all that healthy. Yeah, I'll just keep making money hand over fist because a lot of this stuff is simple to do. And you might say, well, what do you mean by that? Jake Paul. If you didn't know Jake Paul was gonna knock that UFC guy out, who's washed up, who's not the same as he used to be. I don't know what's going on with most of these people. Could I beat Jake Paul? I don't know. I would. It would take a camp and a half, but I wouldn't fight him at this point in juncture in my life. An exhibition, maybe. I mean, this guy's young, big, strong. I probably have more boxing experience, but still, I can't go no 12 rounds, nothing like that. Now, if they say LeBron, I'm signing right up. I'll be LeBron. Where do I sign? Send the contract. Start the camp. I'm going to camp. He gonna have to take the doggone. We gonna have to make sure he take the doggone blood and urine samples. I don't trust nothing on with him. He gonna come in there all Drago. I beat him with speed. LeBron, it's all about. It all depends on character. LeBron's not a very confident player. He doesn't have a lot of confidence in what he does. He's not very. He likes to have an advantage. He's not somebody with heart. You hit him one time, he'll be looking for a way out. I catch him with one good shot, boom. He looking to tie up. Yeah, man. Yeah, he hit me like right here. I was thinking, oh man, I don't want to damage my career. Yeah, call this, man. Call it. Yeah, my gloves and stuff ain't. My headgear ain't fitting right. He looking for a way out, so he ain't gonna give himself a chance. It's not crazy, D style. It's ridiculous. Anybody who didn't think Ben was there to get a check, Ben is a nobody. Like Ben is a washed up former shell of himself. He's not a world champion now. He was there to get a check. Everybody who knows anything about MMA knew what was going to happen here. I'll say this guy, one guy, Michael told me, he was like, man, make a video about it. So, I'm like, Make a video about this for what? I'm like, he finna get hit, and that's it. It's over. He get knocked out. So what? He's 3-0. They're doing the right things. Put him in the right kind of fight. Because this is a guy who was gonna get knocked out. As soon as he gets, I was like, this is gonna be over quick. I don't think it's a big L for MMA. MMA's already got problems. MMA's got a problem because Donald Trump's not in office no more. They're not. They don't have that essential business protection. So now you ain't got the homeboy protecting you. You're gonna have to pay out of pocket for all these events, and then there's not any fans in there. You got a problem. I don't even think most people even know who Ben is. The thing about UFC, their major problem is they don't have a face. Their face is a guy who fights one every 3 years. So they don't have a face of the league. The face of the league are all West Africans. And that's not what the UFC wants. UFC don't want their whole face of the league to be a bunch of West Africans. But all the people with the belts are West Africans. You have your best star athlete, your best talent, right? He couldn't lay off the snow. He kept skiing the Alps. John Jones will win a fight, but then get disqualified for skiing the Alps. Woo! Then they said he was juicing. Tony Jones, you are 100% correct. Oh, I would love to see John Jones versus Dana White. John Jones kick him one time in the leg. Ow! No, that's it. That's it. It's over. It's done. I thought this would be fun. How many numbers we do? Dana White has no ownership in the UFC. He's just an employee now. These are the facts. The person that secretly owns in the UFC is Al Heyman. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Now, here's the thing that's going on. Heyman he's running the UFC and he's running boxing. Well, they decided to keep Dana White. Dana was going to be replaced, but they decided to keep Dana White in play. See, Dana White don't have conflict of interest. He's managing Conor McGregor as the manager, and he's representing them in the fight. He's the promoter of the fight. Normally, that's a conflict of interest. But they don't have to follow the Muhammad Ali Act. which means the UFC can swallow 80% of the money and the fighters get like less than 20%. How did it, that? Where does that make sense? The Japanese own UFC? Who told you that lie? The William Morris Agency. They bought the UFC. One of their main clients and the one who pushed this deal together behind the scenes, Al Heyman, brought the agency in for the purchase. Which means their clients all got part ownership who all wanted to buy in. LL Cool J, Mark Wahlberg. You got all these people who have bought in to be part owners of the UFC for part of the clients in the William Morris Agency that Al Heyman basically delivered. Mm-hmm. Everybody who's in part of William Morris Agency had an opportunity. A lot of them have sold their shares back and a lot of them don't own it anymore. They decided to sell their shares for cash. But the man who's the puppet master behind the strings is the man of all men in this fight game. It's Al Heyman. Al Heyman has geniusly manipulated the general public to not even know he's the one that's behind the UFC. He took over the UFC and boxing, and nobody knows anything. It's beautiful, baby. It's beautiful. One day somebody will figure it out. While Floyd and Al Heyman are laughing to the bank. Floyd Mayweather is getting paid off UFC fights. And he's laughing all the way to the bank. Oh, man. Dana White is hired to be the president of the UFC because that's the face everybody recognizes. They were going to replace Dana, and they decided to give him a 2-year deal to remain as president because he basically begged for that job. I put a lot of effort in there, and I like to, remain the face. Without me, this thing falls. So they're like, all right, well, let's give him a tryout. We'll get for 2 years. We'll give you a 2-year run. So after the 2-year deal was up, they was like, well, we did pretty good with the Conor McGregor Mayweather thing. Dana is the face. Let's just hire him, keep him in there as president. He doesn't have any decision making and stuff like that. They let him deal with the matchmaking. But if there's a match they want done, he can't stop it. If they want to go in a certain direction, there's nothing that they could do. Why do you think Gamboa is getting he's going to be in another title bout? Title eliminator. Guess who it is? Gamboa. I'm like, they going to throw Gamboa in every damn fight in boxing. I'm like, I've never seen somebody lose every fight and still in another title eliminator. Al Heyman boxing, baby. All sports are losing money. That requires attendance as your main. If you're losing small events, they're not losing money, by the way. But a lot of people are losing money because these things are set up based on a. These things are set up based on a gate as part of the feature as the revenue basically for some of the smaller fighters and smaller cards. That's why when you see Al Heyman, why do you think Andy Ruiz and what's his name is fighting on pay-per-view? This dude was retired. Old Pepper knows he was retired. Now he finna fight for a shot at a world title again. Oh, that's it. Chris Arreola. Chris Arreola is right there again. Here's the news flash. MMA already in the ground. It's been there. Why do you think the Zuffa sold it? They got out because they knew what was coming. See, you get out when it's on top. The Zuffas are already billionaires. They don't need this UFC money. They're like, look, we just don't want to deal with the headache. This thing is losing money and it gains money out of luck. We don't like living on the edge like that. So we're just gonna just shut this thing down. The only thing that saved the UFC was the Ultimate Fighter. If they didn't put the Ultimate Fighter on television, where would they be? Now, I'm on one side is not finna pay pay-per-view to see Andy Ruiz versus Chris Arreola. That's a fight that should be on regular TV on Fox, not something that's on pay-per-view. But they're putting it there because they can't get enough of the revenue from the gate because of COVID. So they're sticking it to you, the consumer. Anyway, oh yeah, Rampage versus Rashad Evans. Right. You see, the UFC used to have personalities. You don't have that anymore. There's no personalities in the UFC. Everybody friendly with everybody. Nobody's any damn good, really. Except for the West Africans. The West Africans seem to know how to fight. See, that's the thing about Heyman boxing. You lose, don't matter. You right back in another title fight. I think Jamal Charlo or Jamel Charlo, they finna fight. Somebody's finna fight another nobody coming up soon. Another tomato can. So it just goes to show you can make money fighting absolutely nobodies forever. West Africans rule the taxi game and the UFC. I don't know, man. The Arabs might have something to say about that. So anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you. I'm gonna go out and have some fun tonight. Then it's back to work.